You blink and suddenly it's Thursday. Blink again and the month is over. One more blink and look at that, it's Christmas again. How? There's something strange that happens when you become an adult. Time speeds up, and it's not your imagination. It's not you getting old or dramatic. It's something real that everyone feels, but no one knows how to fully explain. Remember when you were a kid and summer felt endless? Each day felt like a week. Each week felt like a month. Now you wake up on a Monday for work, and before you notice, it's already Friday again. You look at the calendar and think, how is it already October? You see photos from a year ago and swear it happened last month. And then comes that unsettling feeling. Time is moving way too fast. Life is slipping through your fingers and you can't hold on to it. But what if I told you this isn't an accident? That there's a very specific and slightly scarier explanation for why this happens? And that understanding it might completely change the way you live from now on? Let's start with the basics. Why did childhood feel so long? It's not nostalgia. It's not selective memory. There's something very real happening in a child's brain that makes time feel slower. Think about it. When you're a kid, literally everything is new. The first time you see snow, the first time you ride a bike, the first time you taste strawberry ice cream, first. And the human brain is addicted to novelty. When you experience something for the first time, your brain lights up like a Christmas tree. It's paying attention to everything, recording every detail, processing every sensation. And when you're truly paying attention, time stretches. That's why that first kiss felt like it lasted forever. That's why the first day of school felt endless. That's why the car ride to your grandma's house felt like a lifetime. It's not that time moved slower. It's that you were present, completely present, absorbing everything. Now fast forward to adulthood. You wake up, brush your teeth, drink your coffee, go to work, do the same things you did yesterday and the day before and last month. You go home, watch Netflix, sleep, repeat. How many genuinely new things have you done in the past week, the past month, the past year? And here's the problem. When you do the same things over and over, your brain goes into autopilot. It stops paying attention because it doesn't have to. It already knows how to do all of it. And when you're not paying attention, time disappears. Have you ever driven somewhere and arrived without remembering the trip? Like, you literally don't remember passing those stoplights or those streets. You were there, but you weren't present. That's autopilot. And adulthood can become exactly that. You've been in the same job for 5 years, in the same apartment for 3, in the same routine for 2, and when you look back, everything is a blur. Because your brain didn't store anything special, it was all the same, and there's more. Remember how, as a kid, a year was like 10% of your entire life? If you were 10 years old, 1 year was literally 10% of your existence. That's huge, a massive portion of your experience. But when you're 30, 1 year is 3% of your life. At 40, 2.5%. At 50, 2%. Mathematically, each year becomes a smaller slice of your total life. So of course it feels faster, but it's not just math. It's experience. An 8-year-old might have 10 vivid memories from that year, because so much was new. Birthday, vacation, first day of school, Halloween, Christmas. That day they fell off their bike. Now think about last year. How many vivid memories do you have? Like things you remember in detail, things that really stuck. 5, 3, 1. And here's the uncomfortable truth. It's not that time is moving faster, it's that you're not creating new memories. You're living on repeat. And when there are no new memories, the brain compresses everything. January to December becomes an indistinguishable blur. An entire year becomes that year where I did basically the same things I always do. And worse, the longer you live like this, the faster time seems to pass. It's a snowball effect. Each year more similar than the last, each year disappearing faster than the one before, until one day you wake up, look in the mirror and think, where did the last 10 years go? But here's the other side of this story, the part no one talks about. We kind of choose this. I know, it sounds harsh. But stay with me. Adulthood gives us something childhood didn't. Control. You can choose your routine. You can decide what to do with your free time. You can plan your life however you want. And what do we do with all that control? We create efficiency, because that's what the adult world values, right? Productivity, optimization, doing more in less time. Having routines that work, systems that run on autopilot. So you build your perfect morning routine. You know exactly how long it takes to get ready. You know the fastest route to work. You have your usual playlist, your usual coffee, your usual lunch, and it makes sense. Who wants to reinvent the wheel every day? Who wants to waste time deciding basic things? But here's the catch. Efficiency is the enemy of memory. Memory needs attention. Attention needs novelty. A novelty is the opposite of efficiency. Think about when you travel somewhere new, really new. You spend 3 days there, and when you come back, it feels like you were gone for a week. Because every moment was new. You were paying attention to everything. But when you spend 3 days at home doing your normal routine, it passes in the blink of an eye. Same amount of time, completely different experience. And here's the irony. We organize our lives to be efficient, so we save time for the important things. But when we finally have time, we do the same things. Netflix, scrolling on Instagram, same restaurants, same friends, same conversations, because novelty takes effort. Novelty is uncomfortable. Novelty requires energy, and we're tired. So you work all week waiting for the weekend. The weekend comes and you do nothing special. Monday arrives and you barely remember what you did. It was just a blur of rest and screens. And the month passes and the year passes and you're left with that strange feeling. I was busy all the time, but I didn't do anything memorable. Because being busy isn't the same as living. Some people have a packed schedule but are fully on autopilot. Meeting, gym, dinner, meeting. All planned. All efficient. All the same. And some people have fewer commitments but are actually present. Trying new things, having different conversations. Creating memories. Guess who feels time passing more slowly? Here's the scary part. You can be completely busy and still wasting your life. Because busy doesn't mean present, and we confuse that all the time. We think the problem is not having time. Oh, if I had more time, then I'd do different things. But it's not about the amount of time, it's about the quality of your attention. You can have 2 hours free and spend them on Instagram. Or you can have 2 hours and learn something new. Talk to someone for real. Visit a place you've never been. Same 2 hours. One disappears without a trace, the other becomes a memory. And here's the cruel paradox. The more you optimize your life to save time, the faster time goes by. Because you're eliminating exactly the things that make time feel meaningful. Novelty, attention, presence. You become a super efficient machine for not living. And when you hit 40, 50, 60, you look back and realize everything went by so fast because you lived it half asleep, functioning, but not living. Now let's talk about something that makes all of this even more complicated. The strange relationship we have with the future. When you're a child, the future feels infinite. You have your whole life ahead of you, decades and decades of possibilities. So there's no rush. You can spend an entire afternoon building a pillow fort. You can spend hours drawing. You can lie down and stare at the clouds because time feels unlimited. But something changes when you become an adult. Suddenly, time becomes a finite resource. You start counting it. I'm X years old, so I have Y years left to do Z. And then the bizarre pressure begins. You have to make it count. You have to make it worthwhile. You have to accomplish things before it's too late. But here's the problem. When you're obsessed with making the most of your time, you stop actually enjoying your time. There's this constant anxiety. Am I doing the right thing right now? Am I wasting my time? Should I be doing something else? You're at dinner with friends but thinking about your work project. You're at your work project but thinking about vacation. You're on vacation but thinking about everything you need to do when you get back. You're always somewhere thinking you should be somewhere else. And when you're not present where you are, time evaporates. It's like trying to hold water with your hands wide open. The more you try to grasp it, the faster it slips away. And here's something even worse. We started treating time like an investment. Is this worth my time? Is this a good use of my time? Am I investing my time well? Time became capital, and you're supposed to get a return on it. So you can't just sit and do nothing. You can't have a conversation that leads nowhere. You can't do something just because. Everything has to have a purpose. Everything has to add value. Everything has to be worth it. But here's the trick. Some of the most memorable moments in life are precisely the ones that had no purpose at all. That random conversation that lasted until dawn. That day you got lost driving and discovered an incredible place. That moment you stopped to watch the sunset and stayed there just watching. These moments didn't pay off in any productive metric, but they're the ones you remember because they were real, they were present, they were alive, but we cut those moments out of our lives because they're not efficient, they're not productive, they don't have ROI. So we end up with this strange life where we're always running, always doing, always producing, but never really living. We optimize so much that we optimized away the very things that make life worthwhile. And there's another side to this. We've started living in when-then mode. When I graduate, then I'll enjoy life. When I get this job, then I'll relax. When I save enough money, then I'll travel. When I retire, then I'll do what I love. It's always a future when, never now. You're constantly postponing real life to a future moment that never truly arrives. Because once you reach that when, there's always another when waiting for you. You spend your entire life waiting for your life to begin. And in the meantime, the years keep passing. Fast. Faster and faster. Because you're not living them, you're waiting for them. It's like being in a permanent waiting room. And waiting rooms always feel slow, but when you look back, it all passed in an instant. Because you weren't present. You were just waiting. And maybe this is the most uncomfortable truth of all. Time isn't moving fast. You're the one letting it slip away. But there's an even deeper layer to all of this, and this is the one that really hits hard. The speed of adult life isn't just about routine or lack of novelty. It's about meaning. Let me explain. When you were a kid, things had emotional weight, real weight. Your birthday? It was the most important thing in the universe. That toy you wanted? You thought about it for weeks. That party you were going to? You could barely sleep from excitement. Every small thing felt huge, because everything mattered a lot. Now your birthday comes around and you think, wow, already again? Sometimes you even forget until someone reminds you. That present you want, you buy it impulsively, use it twice, and forget it. That event you were supposed to go to, you cancel last minute because you're tired. It's not that you became a bad or uninterested person, it's that nothing seems to matter as much anymore. And when things don't matter, they don't stick to your memory. They just pass. It's like the difference between watching a movie fully focused and watching it while scrolling on your phone. Technically, you saw the movie both times, but in one of them, you barely remember anything. Adult life has become exactly that. We're technically living, but with our metaphorical phone in hand, half distracted, half disconnected, and there's a reason for this: safety. When you're a kid, you control nothing. Everything is a surprise. You don't know what tomorrow is going to look like, and that's both scary and exciting. But as an adult, we work hard to eliminate surprises, to create predictability, to build safety. You want to know you'll have money at the end of the month, that your job is stable, that your relationships are secure, that life will flow without major shocks, and achieving this is an accomplishment, and it's what everyone strives for. But it comes with a cost. Predictability kills emotion. When you know exactly how your day, your week, your month will unfold, there's no tension, no anticipation, no butterflies in your stomach feeling of not knowing what comes next. And without emotion, without tension, without anticipation, time glides by. That's why those vacations you planned for months with the perfect itinerary, all the tourist spots, everything scheduled, go by in a flash. But that spontaneous weekend where you left the house with no plans and ended up in random places, you remember that one vividly because it had unpredictability, it had real emotion. Here's the harsh truth. You cannot have total safety and a memorable life at the same time. It doesn't work that way. Every truly strong memory you have involves some level of uncertainty, risk, not knowing how things were going to turn out, that first date, that job interview, that crazy trip, that difficult conversation. You remember them not because they went well, but because you didn't know if they would go well. But we spend our entire adult lives trying to eliminate exactly that, trying to build a world where everything is predictable, controlled, safe, and we succeed. And then we realize we've created a life that flies by because it's a life without texture, without tension, without that emotional charge that forces you to pay attention. It's like eating the same meal every day. It can be a good meal, it can be nutritious, but by the third month, you don't even taste it anymore. You just eat. And that's what life becomes. You just live on autopilot, safe, comfortable, and extremely fast because the brain isn't recording anything. Everything is the same, everything is predictable, everything is safe, and safety, as we learn too late, is an incredibly efficient way to make time disappear. So if all of this is true, what do we do? Because up until now, we've only described the problem, but what about the solution? Does a solution exist? Here's the complicated part. There isn't an easy answer. There's no productivity hack that fixes this. There's no app that slows down time. But there are choices, and those choices make a difference. The first thing to understand is that you're not going to fix this once and for all. There's no moment where you arrive and think, okay, now I've mastered time. It doesn't work that way. It's a practice like working out or meditating. You have to do it consciously, repeatedly, forever. And that practice comes down to one thing: interrupting autopilot. Not every day, not in everything, but regularly, intentionally. It can be small, really small. Take a different route to work. Order something new at your usual restaurant. Talk to someone you've never talked to before. Do something with your non-dominant hand just to feel the awkwardness. Sounds silly? Maybe. But your brain wakes up with things like that. It snaps out of autopilot and thinks, wait, what's happening here? And when it pays attention, time stretches. But it has to be genuinely new. It can't be new but comfortable. Switching to a different Netflix show doesn't count. Your brain knows it's the same thing. It has to be something that pulls you out of your comfort zone. Something that requires real attention. And here's the interesting part. The people who feel time moving more slowly aren't the ones with perfect or super exciting lives. They're the ones who allow themselves to be beginners again. People who learn new languages at 40, who start strange hobbies at 50, who travel alone at 60, who allow themselves to not know, not be good, not be in control, because being a beginner is uncomfortable. You're bad at it. You make mistakes. You feel vulnerable. But you're present, completely present. And presence is the only real antidote to the acceleration of time. Now the hard part. Presence requires giving things up. You can't be present and optimized at the same time. You can't be present and multitask. You can't be present and be on your phone. So you have to choose, and choosing means giving something up. Giving up efficiency sometimes, giving up productivity sometimes, giving up being constantly connected. And this goes against everything the world teaches you, because the world values speed, values multitasking, values being on all the time. But if you want time to slow down, you have to slow down first. And I'm not talking about meditating for 10 minutes in the morning. I'm talking about changing the way you move through the world. It means sometimes doing unproductive things. It means having conversations that don't lead anywhere. It means letting yourself get bored and not grabbing your phone immediately. In fact, it means reclaiming boredom, because boredom is the space where new things are born, where you notice details, where you sit with your own thoughts. But we're so afraid of boredom that we fill every second with stimulation, and then the seconds disappear. The other piece of this is about memories. You have to create memories intentionally, not wait for memorable things to happen. Do things that force you to be present. It can be simple. Dinner without a phone on the table, driving with no music sometimes, walking without a podcast. Just you in the moment. Does it feel uncomfortable? That's because it is. Presence is uncomfortable at first. We lost the habit, but it's like a muscle. The more you practice, the easier it gets. And the more you practice, the more time slows down. It won't bring back those endless childhood summers. It won't stop aging. It won't add hours to your day. But it will make the days feel fuller. It will make you remember more. It will make your life feel more lived. Let's finish with the most important truth of all. And this one might be hard to hear. Time is going to keep passing. Each year will feel a little faster than the last. You will get older. The decades will go by. That doesn't change. But what does change, and changes completely, is what you do with that reality, because there is a huge difference between living 70 years and having 70 years of experience. Most people live 70 years but have like 10 years of experience repeated 7 times. Same decade, same routine, same lifestyle, just older. And there is nothing wrong with stability, nothing wrong with comfort, nothing wrong with finding what works and sticking with it. But if you want time to slow down, if you want to look back at 60 and feel like you truly lived, you have to interrupt the pattern every now and then. You have to let yourself be uncomfortable. Let yourself not know. Let yourself start again. And maybe most importantly, you have to stop waiting. Stop waiting for your perfect life to begin. Stop waiting to have more time. Stop waiting for ideal conditions, because ideal conditions don't exist. Waiting for them is just a sophisticated way of letting life slip by. Life is happening now. Not when you get that promotion. Not when you have more money. Not when the kids grow up. Not when you retire. Now. And now is the only thing you actually have. So the question isn't, how do I slow down time? The question is, how do I show my brain that this moment is worth paying attention to? And the answer is, by doing things that deserve attention. They don't have to be big. They don't have to be Instagram worthy. They don't have to impress anyone. They just have to be real, present, new. It could be learning to bake bread, having a real conversation with your partner instead of just sharing the couch, taking a walk with no destination, finally doing that thing you've always said you would do. The important thing is getting your life off repeat. Because in the end, when you look back, and you will look back, the question won't be, how much time did I have? It will be, what did I do with the time I had? And if the answer is, I was efficient, I was productive, I kept everything under control, but you barely remember any of it, have no stories to tell, no moments that make you smile, then time passed, and you weren't there to see it. But if the answer is, I let myself be a beginner, I let myself make mistakes, I let myself live off script, even if it was messy, even if it was imperfect, then you lived, for real. And that's the choice you make every day. Not once, not in one big decision, but in 1,000 small choices. Picking up your phone or looking out the window, doing the same thing or trying something different, living on autopilot or waking up to your own life. Time will pass either way. Life will continue either way. The only question is, will you be present for it? Or will you wake up 10 years from now, look around and think, how did I get here so fast? The choice is yours. It always has been. And the moment to choose is now. If this video made you rethink how you're living, leave a like below. And subscribe to the channel for more reflections on the things nobody talks about but everybody feels. See you in the next one.